welcome to another episode of Creators Outlet with our special guest, Daniel Parker. Daniel, how you doing today, man?
Doing really good, man. How are you doing?
Good. I should know everything about you because I've seen you on like 30 streams by this point now.
Yeah.
So, tell us how you first got interested in comics, and did you grow up with them as a child, or did you get into them later on? What?
So my main exposure to comics was as a kid. I grew up with Batman. And although I didn't read Batman comics, I was mainly into Batman with the movies and the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
And and then grew up watching, and also grew up watching the X-Men animated series. So I really loved X-Men, and it kind of grew from there with a lot of the other superhero stuff, mainly in television and film. Didn't really start reading comics until I would say probably the late 2000s, right around the time when I was getting out of college. I started reading a lot of Marvel, reading quite a bit of Marvel, a little bit of DC. Started to read some old Batman stories and read quite a bit of a little bit of Iron Man, a little bit of Captain America, and read quite a bit of also quite a bit of Miss Marvel too, back when it was still Carol Danvers as Miss Marvel, and back when she was actually a actually decently written character and likable character, and was nice to look at, unlike she is today. But yeah, I think that's mainly my focus with comics.
Was there one story or arc back then that just stood out to you that was like you read it like over and over again?
I as much as people kind of give it some grief, I actually enjoyed the Civil War story arc, the first one, with Cap and Iron Man. I thought that was it kind of ended on a whimper, but I enjoyed it for the most part.
That's the one thing with both Marvel and DC. Usually their big event stories, for the most part, will launch off with a bang, and then they're like, "Oh, we kind of painted ourselves into a corner. What do we do now?"
Yeah, and then it kind of just and then it just kind of fizzles out.
Yeah. It ends up having all the plot of a pornography movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, who in all the time that you've been doing this now, did you look to like most for influences writing wise?
Writing wise, I mainly looked at manga. With Ghost in the Shell, I'm trying to remember his name. But most of my writing was influenced by manga, like Ghost in the Shell, like Battle Angel Alita, those sorts of stories. Yeah, where it's just kind of that sort of that bridge between humanity and tech. Because my comic book is very much a cyberpunk story, so I would say that's the main influences there are different cyberpunk stories.
Yeah, I was a big fan of Ghost in the Shell when it came out, but I had been bitten already by the Akira bug and Ninja Scroll and stuff like that. So I got into that, Blade of the Immortal, and different things like that. So it was like I'd go from like straight samurai into like almost like a Robotech kind of situation. So
yeah.
There's something for everybody in manga, and they outsell everybody. So what are you gonna do?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you have one manga that's outselling the top 20 comic books, and you know,
Berserker.
yeah.
Every time somebody mentions that book, all I can think of is Jay and Silent Bob, where they get the German kid to yell Berserker. That's all I can think of every time I hear that title, and I'm like, you know, I'd like to get those books. A friend of mine quit comics like cold and got sick of like all the crap that's going on in, you know, mainstream. It's not about the comics or the you know, the art, the story, or anything. It's about what book can we drive up in the market this week to make everybody buy it so it'll soar, and then we can go and sell like 100 copies for a massive profit for.
Yeah.
You know, I want to be able to, you know, buy something that I can, you know, read and enjoy, and, you know, not have to worry about whether or not that, you know, I have to, you know, try to chase a copy down on eBay or wait for like the second or third print to come around.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I definitely agree with that. I mean, you know, it can be frustrating sometimes when you know, you want to read, there's a comic book that you want and you can't find it, and then it's, you know, yeah.
Yeah, especially something like a good example, I guess, would be The Last Ronin with 99 variant covers, and nobody could find a single copy of, like, you know, issue 1 unless you like pre-ordered it like 3 months in advance or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, I wouldn't necessarily, I would say that that's probably not the best way to sell a book. I mean, I get the you know, having scarcity or having a limited run or what have you, but if it's something you want people reading and it's something you want people to keep buying and be a continuous thing, I think that, to me, that's probably a better way to go about it, especially if it's, you know, if you want it to be like a timeless classic.
Yeah, I mean, I ended up getting a third print of #1, and I finally got around to sitting down and reading it. It was fantastic, but a good majority of the people that got these copies, you get like half those people are like diehard Turtles fans, and they buy multiple copies of every single issue, and like the 37 covers every month, or, you know, have a book come in great, you know, pre-graded and all this other crap. But, you know, to pull in new fans, like, I haven't read Turtles since like the original run.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, yeah, the cartoon, oh, they made it kiddie. Yeah, it's not violent and bloody and gory anymore. I'm all set.
Yeah.
You know, so I had, you know, I didn't actually buy the book. A friend of mine used to, you know, collect it religiously. So, you know, we'd hang out at his house like once a week, and I'd be like, you got any new Turtles to read? Will you play a video game? Yeah, sure, yeah. And I read him. He goes, but the thing, I go, it was great. He goes, why don't you buy it? I go, because the money I save buying this, I can buy a different book.
Yeah, yeah, that's yeah, usually the best way.
And, you know, when you're 16, you got to think a little bit outside the box. How am I going to spread this $5 or $10 a week I got and spend it all on comics? Well,
yeah.
So what festered the idea for this book, and what made you take the leap to jump in and actually make your own comic?
So originally, I had intended to be a novelist, and not and I will say, Angels Awakening was not the novel I was working on. The novel I was working on is actually the next book that I have planned that that's going to be in the works here pretty soon. And I wanted to, as I was writing that story out, it kind of dawned on me that, like, well, I've got these characters that are kind of like superheroes, and well, kind of a cross between superheroes and maybe the X-Men, although I guess you could say X-Men are superheroes, but um, I thought, as I was writing it, I thought, well, maybe this will work better as a comic book, and this was right around the time Comicsgate started to blow up, and I remember, I haven't mentioned this story before, but I guess I can mention it here. In fall of 2019, so just a few months before the world blew up, or almost came to a screeching halt, I was on vacation with my parents, and we were out having dinner, and I was thinking about turning it into a comic book, and I talked it over with them, and they thought it was a great idea, and because my mother actually read comic books when she was in college. That was like her only form of entertainment when she was in college were comic books, and she said she thought it was a great idea. My father thought it was a great idea, so I thought, okay, well, I'll jump into it, and started adapting it, and one of the things that happened was I had with one of the characters, I was developing her backstory, and because her backstory is tied into the main character of the other story I was working on's part of his story, and I was creating that kind of that connection, and I thought that seems like a really cool idea for a comic book, or just like a short, kind of like a quasi one-shot story, and that character was, of course, Jessica Sawyer, and the story ended up being Angel's Awakening.
Well, for one thing, your parents rock, because most people, if they said, well, I've been working on this book, a couple of different novel ideas, and I kind of like to make a comic book. And then, it's like, we sent you to college for this. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
Kind of like when a lawyer quits, like the late Greg Giraldo, when he quit his law practice to go do stand-up comedian work. It's like, why would you give up a 7-figure salary to go and insult and tell jokes? Well, because it's more fun.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I have some really amazing and supportive parents who they've been, with my writing endeavors, they've been very supportive. They've said, how whatever you want to do, we'll support you however we can. So I'm very fortunate in that regard.
Yeah, that's very cool to have parents that are pro comic book.
Yes. Well, I think I think part of their thought process too is, as long as I'm doing something, and I'm not I'm not being a mooch, and I'm not I'm living my own life, they're happy. So
at least he's being productive.
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
My mother thought that, like, my mother was supportive of comics to an extent with me, because when you're younger, your parents are always trying to get you to read. And at young ages, we don't want to read. We want to go out and play ball, or play with our toys. And I grew up in the 70s, and as a little kid, and I wanted to play with my superhero figures, and army men. We wanted to play soccer and dodgeball, and build very dangerous ramps to jump our bikes off of, and then wonder why we broke a leg afterwards or something like that. But as long as I was good and I did my chores, my mother would buy me one, sometimes two comics on a Sunday morning when we would walk up to the pharmacy, the pharmacy up the street, when they used to be owned by like families and stuff before CBS, you know, overgrew everybody and printed up 32-foot long receipts for like a pack of gum and stuff.
Yeah.
And you know, they had the spinner rack like in the middle of the store, so I get the chew stuff, and I get to actually get some pretty cool books. And you know, I bought Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man #1 off the spinner rack when I was a kid.
Wow.
And now I'd like to get that book back, but I don't want to pay that much money for
it. Yeah. It's I think a lot of there are a lot of people out there, I'm sure, who had like all the old comic books, but then their parents threw them out, or they sold them or whatever, and they're like, oh, I really wish I had that back.
Yeah. Well, when I was younger and I was in trouble, my mother used to love, because I would cringe like something fierce, because she would tell me the story, about when she was a kid, right when DC started up.
Oh.
She was born in 1933, so she was, she had all the she had, Action Comics #1 and Detective 37 and Batman #1 and Wonder Woman #1, and had all those. But apparently my great grandmother thought they were evil satanic things, and shredded them and threw them away.
Oh, jeez.
So of course I would cringe, and 5-year-old me would be like on the verge of tears, crying because the first appearance of Superman and Batman got shredded by my crazy great grandmother. Oh. And I'm like, oh man.
Yeah. Jeez.
So I mean, my daughter's 13 now. I got her into comics way back when. It was like my nerd pop culture training. So she used to know, like, just about every character from like some of the main brands, and stuff, characters from like Image and Dynamite and stuff like that. But of course she was a little girl, so yes, I had to add My Little Pony to my pull list. And she's got like a half a, she's got like a 3/4 of a long box of My Little Pony, along with, regular, like, good kid friendly, comic books, a lot of like indie, all ages stuff and everything like that. And now she's into manga, and she's drawing. All she wanted for her birthday was a new art app for her iPad, and she got it. Now, her letting me see anything she draws, that's another story altogether. But, I've seen a couple of things, and I'm like, did you just copy and paste that from another page and, use the paint program on it? And go, no, I drew it. I'm like, whoa.
Wow.
I'm like, now if I can convince her to start doing sketch covers, I can monetize my child.
Yeah, there you go. Free labor.
Free labor. I go, hey, why don't you draw this picture there? Nah, come on, please. I'll buy ice cream. Okay.
Yeah.
But, she's into it. Her older sister bought her a couple of grabbed them. I think like Five Below had them, like, how to draw manga, like a few different how to draw manga books, characters, aliens, spaceships, all kinds of stuff like that. So she's been doing that. In her off time, she'll just go sit out on the porch and grab her phone and her iPad and just sit there and draw. So I'm like, good, I don't have to worry about her for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And for that time when boys stopped coming around, I just grab a shotgun shell and toss it towards them and be like, okay, they come faster after 10 o'clock and just move on with my life.
That sounds like my older brother.
Oh,
He's kind of the same. He's kind of taking the same approach with my niece. Just she's a little younger, but yeah, he really dotes on her.
yeah, I'm really good friends with my cousin's husband, and they've got 2 daughters, and their oldest daughter is like 16 now and driving, and has a boyfriend. So last Christmas I sent him a T-shirt that says, "I have a gun, a shovel, and an alibi."
I like it.
So it's like, guns don't kill people. People with beautiful daughters kill people.
Exactly.
So tell us about your lead character and all what you thought of while you were going through development and backstory.
So Jessica Sawyer is she's a psychic spy with her psychic ability is teleportation. She got that ability. I'm trying not to spoil too much from the book, but her powers are artificial, and she didn't get them through. It wasn't really by choice that she got it, because she was an orphan. She lived in her in this big mega city in the 100 years in the future, and she was an orphan, lived mostly on the streets, and she survived by being a thief, breaking into different different stores and stuff, and until she gets caught, and then she gets into this program to create artificial psychics, and that's how she gets her powers. And then so that's when I was writing the other story, I was kind of developing that backstory for her, and then kind of like giving her at first when I was creating her, like, she didn't have powers. She was just kind of a James Bond-esque super spy. And, I was kind of, James Bond a little bit, but also a little bit with Mrs. Peel from the Avengers, not Marvel's Avengers, but the British, Avengers. And also a little bit of Black Widow in there too. Obviously her suit design was a little bit inspired by Black Widow, although it was one of the things I worked on with my artist Bogdan, was trying to make her look more distinct and less like Black Widow. But yeah, and she was basically just going to be kind of a sidekick, sort of. I compared it to the 2 characters. I kind of compared it to, it was like Buck Rogers, and she was going to be like Wilma Deering. But as I was developing her character, I liked her too much, and so I wanted her to have her own adventures, her own story, and her own arc, if you will. So, but yeah, that was mainly where that came from. And also when I was getting a lot of different art commissions done of her, and I just loved the way that she looked and everything. And so I'm like, okay, I need to put her in a comic book.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
So, this is your first project, right?
Correct. Yes.
And you did the creation and the writing. Did you do any of the art or layouts or anything?
I did zero art. I can draw stick figures. That's it.
Well, you're one step above me already.
Well, but yeah, I know. The script was just. I mean, I tried to be as descriptive as possible with how I wanted each panel to look, and on each page, and what was going to happen on there uh, for Bogdan to draw it. And Bogdan did everything. I mean, he did the pencils, he did the inks, and he did the colors. And and that's one of the things I was very fortunate with this book, was not only having an incredibly talented artist, but also multi-talented as well. Because most artists, they can do the pencils and inks, but they can't do colors, or they can just do pencils, but they can't do inks, or what have you. And and so I was really lucky. I really lucked out, getting Bogdan on board.
And how did you two end up meeting and getting this project underway?
We met. We actually met through Micah Curtis, he's another. I'm sure you've heard of him. He's been all over. He's been a part of Comicsgate from the very beginning.
Yeah,
and I've been in his audience for a few years, and I was watching one of Micah's live streams, and I guess he and Bogdan had known each other for a little while, and the two of them are actually decided they were going to work on a book together. That's a forthcoming book pretty soon. It's actually going to be a Dracula story, and which kind of fits for Bogdan because he's Romanian. So you got a Romanian artist doing a Dracula story. But
it'll be legit.
Yes, it'll be legit. Yeah. So, but yeah, then I started following him on Twitter, and then we started DMing, and I was telling him, about the character. I was telling him about Jessica, and we started working on some concept designs for her, and I kind of I was looking. There was another artist I was looking at to do the book, but he was very talented, but I really didn't really get a sense that he knew what I was looking for. So and then I started talking to Bogdan, and I said, well, it'd be really cool if you could work on this book with me. And he said, yeah, I'd love to. And so we were off to the races at that point. And this was, not quite a year ago. This was like late July, early August of 2020. And we just, got it together, and I sent him the script, and he liked it, and he started working on it.
How soon was it before he got the first page sent over to you, so you could see what he had done and what you thought and everything?
Oh, like 3, maybe 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah, he unfortunately, like a lot of people, Bogdan lost his job last year. Mm-hmm. And so in 2020, he was a full-time artist, so he was able to devote a lot of time to drawing and working on comic books. So it was, a fairly quick turnaround as far as the book was concerned. With each page.
And this funded over the weekend, right? Because I think I was there.
Yeah, you were there. Yeah, it reached the funding goal on Saturday. Yeah.
And yeah, because we were talking, because I must have been like in and out of like 7 different streams today. And Pops ran his regular Monday show, and then kicked off the show with Piper earlier tonight too. And it was just, it was just crazy, because we were talking. He goes, how many people are broke after CromCon? I'm like, me.
Yeah. I would imagine there were a lot of people like, oh, that's a good book. That's a good book. Oh, that's good. Shit, I don't have any money.
Well, sadly, I had money. But I was also, you think of like certain books, and you get to know the creator, and or the artist on the book, and you're like, I really like this person. They're really cool. Their work is amazing, and I want to read this book.
Yeah.
and I don't want to read a digital file. I want the book.
Yeah.
So there were only a couple days left, and I ordered my copy of Cryptinals from 656. And Only Death Can Save Us from Russ Leach, and that's coming the way of the UK. So, and he said that's going out in the mail today. And I actually backed two others, like, I hate to say on a whim, but I was like the little kid that's going through the grocery line with his mom and sees the candy bars at the register.
Yeah.
And tries to sneak in a Reese's peanut butter cup to his jacket. Yeah, that was me. I'm like,
oh.
and then I checked. I went and checked the balance on one credit card. I go, ooh, $5.40. Not good. I went and checked the other one. I'm like, $140.
Oh.
I can back two more projects and still have money in case something happens that I need to buy.
Yeah.
In case I gotta get like a prescription or something. I'm like, okay, I have emergency money, and I'm looking around at a couple other projects. I go, oh man, I want to get on that project. New check on Thursday. Yay.
Yeah.
Like,
well, the one that gets me is my car. Like, I drive an old car. Like, my car is like 14 years old, and it's got 120,000 miles on it, and it's so, like, something goes wrong with it, and it's like, and it's also it's a fairly nice, it's a BMW. I'll just say that it's an old BMW. So
okay, I no longer feel sorry for you.
Well, yeah, but but that's the thing. Like, if something breaks down on that thing, it's going to be at least $500-$600 to replace a whatever. It's
and that's just the labor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the killer, is the labor. Yeah, the parts don't really cost all that much. It's just it's mostly just the labor.
A lot of things with cars, unless it's like a timing chain or breaks a transmission. Anything else you can find any number of videos that can teach you how to do 1,000,001 things to a car that won't put your life in danger.
Mm-hmm.
I never mess around with brakes, even though my whole family goes, nah, you don't pay them, you do it yourself. I go, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Where you going? I go, I'm going to the garage so I can watch somebody do it myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm ashamed to admit I have no idea how to change the oil in a car. I have no idea how to do that. I'm a typical millennial.
God, you are.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple. You have to buy an oil wrench filter, the right size for your car. Well, the oil wrench filters are like adjustable, like basically adjustable steel bands. So it's like tightening a belt around the filter. It's a little more to it than that, but that's basically it. The first thing you do, you gotta lift the front of the car up, and underneath the engine, the oil pan is the lowest thing to the ground, basically under the hood. And there'll be a plug there that you take a wrench and you unscrew, and it'll basically the car will pee into a pan. And once it's all drained out, you put the plug back in, you take the old filter out, you get the new filter, and then you gotta fill up the filter. I don't believe I'm doing shop class on a comic book stream. You kind of like fill up the filter, like you put it upside down, and you pour a bunch of oil into it so it can seep into the filter, and then you just basically screw the filter on by hand, and then you tighten it up with the wrench, and fill up the oil, where you usually add oil to the car under the hood. Today at NASCAR at home.
Yes.
So, how long a campaign did you go on this?
I did 60 days.
Did you do 60 straight, or did you do 25 and then extend?
I did 60 straight. Yeah.
60 straight.
Yeah.
I only found this out today, but apparently if you do like a couple of weeks and then you extend it to 60, you kind of like trigger the Indiegogo algorithm, and it kind of like pushes you further up towards the top of the list.
Yeah, I'll admit I bungled that a little bit with because I was on John Malin's stream once, and he told me, he was like, yeah, you need to do like 30 and then 30, do it for 30 days, and then because you get a bump at the end of the first 30, and then you do another 30, and you get another bump. Because that seems to be like you get a bump at the beginning of the campaign, and then there's just like a dead time, and then you get another bump at the end.
Well, if your campaign takes off like a rocket at the beginning, it'll stay up there, kind of like when that happens on Kickstarter does projects we love, or Kickstarters we love, whatever they call it. So if it's when Monty Moore launches a campaign, it funds in 2 hours or something. So obviously that's a Kickstarter they love, because they just guaranteed to make a whole bunch of money like real quick.
Yeah.
But there's nothing over there that like Indiegogo does with the you can't extend your campaign like another 30 days. You can't keep it open in that store function, to have it on demand.
Right.
That's some of the stuff I like better about Indiegogo. Some of the things I don't like better is as soon as you hit that pledge button, your money is gone.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's always a little bit of a little nerve wracking. Yeah, when you make a you get a tier on a campaign. It's like, am I actually going to get this book, or is this just gonna or is it just gonna kind of fade away?
Yeah, a lot of the I don't know. Most of the campaigns up until recently, most of the campaigns that I backed were had started on Kickstarter and went to Indiegogo, and a bunch of them, I didn't have. I was like, tapped for money for things that I actually needed, and stuff for my daughter and all, and I'm like, well, I got no money to play around with for a month or so. And I would, talk to that person and be like, so when you wrap your Kickstarter, you're gonna do a second chance campaign over on Indiegogo, right? Right. And one of the guys that did that, and I backed, got distracted and sent me the wrong order. Like 3/4 of it wasn't there, but I know the guy personally, so I would, I messaged him. I go, hey, get the package in. Oh, great. How do you like it? I go, oh, if my order was in there, I'd like it more. He's like, what didn't I send you? I go, well, you sent me the art book that the campaign was for, but the art book, the series that predated that was, where the art for the art book came from was from this prior comic series that he did back in the 90s. I go, none of those books were there. And I got this, and this, and I got one of these when I ordered the whole lot. But you sent me this, and this. He goes, well, you keep all that, and I'll just send the other stuff. So, like 3 days later, I had like everything. And then I quit complaining because I still haven't read everything.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a few I've got a few Indiegogo Comicsgate books that I still need to read. One of the books I'm going to read right away is How to Die. I don't know if you heard of that one. But Bogdan was the artist on that book, so I kind of need to read that one first.
You kind of have to buy that, yeah.
Yeah.
I read your other book. Can we get to work on issue 2 now?
Yes.
So there's the thing is too there. I thought there was too much to choose from when you would just walk into, a comic shop prior to the Coof.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm learning that, oh man, I'm getting like a little jittery because there's no way you can choose between this book and that book, between all the indie stuff that gets shipped to stores and then all the indie stuff that you get from Indiegogo and Kickstarter. There's just so much stuff. It's just crazy.
Yeah. It's the market has been sufficiently flooded, and it's as a creator, you kind of have to find a way to stand out from the others so that you can be seen and not get lost in the shuffle, lost in the flood.
Yeah, there's because I mean, like I said it like over the weekend, before the con even, before we even wrapped up last night, and RJ from Critical Blast had like the last panel, and he brought a bunch of guys over, and I'm like, I'm looking, and Marcel's got like 37 and a half campaigns all going at the same time.
Jeez.
And then he it was 3, but it felt like 37 and a half.
Yeah.
And so he's got like he's got 2 campaigns for the same book but different issues both running simultaneously.
Ooh.
And another book.
And
then he's like, no, this isn't my. No, I work like a real day job too.
Oh, jeez.
I'm like, when?
Yeah, exactly. When do you have time?
And I was like, there were so many books that I looked at, and I'm like, oh wow,
yeah,
this is cool. Damn, I have no money, and Jason was there with his cowboy octopus there.
Oh.
and I'm just like, I go, okay, the art on this thing is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love the colors and the sci-fi flair, and I'm like, this is cool. It's different. I like it. Mm-hmm. Bank account.
Yeah.
You know, and it's tough because I do these shows 3 days a week, and unfortunately, I have not won the Powerball, so I cannot back everybody's book.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, you know, something will grab, you know. I tried to curb myself a little, and then this weekend I just went batshit crazy. I was like, I don't want to lose out on that. And Russ Leach's book is going to be reprinted in floppy form through Arrow Comics, but you can only get Arrow Comics if your store gets books from Liberty Distribution, because that's their exclusive distributor. And I'm like, what are the odds that either one of the stores I use are willing to pay another shipping charge? I'm like, I go, no, I'll just buy the original from England. Never mind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's just crazy.
Yeah. I think there will have to be at some point where get to a point where where some of us will have to have a store, either, and maybe not brick and mortar, but online, where we can sell our books and be able to ship them out.
Yeah, like if you take like a business page, like a pro page for your book, on say like Facebook, it's built in. So after you go through like 1,000,001, you know, BS thing, setting up the page with them, and linking it to this account or that account, they actually have it built in, so you can set up a store through your pro page on Facebook, and you know, whatever you sell, you can sell it like right through there. You know, which is of course a lot better than dealing with Feebay or, you know, anything like that, which is why the Facebook live auctions like took off like a bat out of hell, because like I can buy comics, I can buy indie. I bought like some old 90s indie comics like 3 or 4 weeks ago for, you know, real cheap money. So, you know, I was excited because I used to read these books, you know, when I was younger, like Mike Grell's John Sable Freelance from First Comics back in the 90s.
Wow.
I bought like the first 40 issues for $20.
That's really good.
So I'm like, I go, so you're selling all those for $40? I mean, $20. He goes, yep. You want them? Yep.
Yes.
50 cents a book, and they're all in like, you know, pretty damn good shape. I'm like, yeah. Even if they were reader copies for 50 cents a book, yeah, it's worth 50 cents to read a book.
Yeah.
You know, I'll take that any day of the week.
Yeah. Especially now that, like, I think how much is a floppy now? Like $5, a new one.
Oh, well, it depends. $5.99 to $9.
Ooh.
So $6 to $9.
Jeez.
Now here's the thing. I'll wheel myself into my, you know, local comic shop, and I'll look and I'll be like, cool, and I'll see all kinds of stuff popping out to me, you know, characters that I love, and I'll go to grab them, and then they'll cash me out, and it'll be like, you know, $300, and I'm like, what? He goes, oh yeah, like pretty much half those books are all like $8.99.
Oh jeez.
I go, well, I'm sorry to do this, but I'm going to put these back now.
Yeah.
I go, I will keep the Batman and Detective and the Joker, and just, you know, put everything else back, because, well, I've been buying those two magazines since 1972. So,
yeah.
You know, so I'm like, I'm not going to break the run. No. I hate to do it, because I don't want to pay like $8 or $9 for a book that I may or may not read.
Yeah.
You know, Like,
Yeah.
well, why do you keep buying them? I go, don't want to break the run. He goes, you do know you can buy Bronze and Silver Age books that were like, cover price 20 cents and up, that are worth twice as much as that for like $5 or $10 on the right sale.
Yeah.
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 Oh yeah. Never mind. Cancel everything.
Yeah.
What do you get for back issues? Here's my list.
Yeah.
I'll export my list from CLZ and send it to you.
Yes.
And I'll take $100 worth at a time. And I'll just fill, back when, Marvel and DC was still putting out good stuff, like 20 years ago. And even then, you'd go through like runs of a character that you loved, whether it was X-Men or, Legion of Superheroes, Teen Titans, whatever. You'd go through a run of like 6 or 7 issues that were just garbage before you got to an arc that, wow, this is good. And I'm like, why did I buy all those?
Yeah.
Man, if the internet was around back in the 90s,
Oh.
the 90s craze never would have happened.
Yeah. Yeah. All the bad issues of comic books would have been known, and everybody would have just stayed away from them.
Imagine all the threads there would have been, on Reddit and all the other social media.
Yeah.
About Rob Liefeld not being able to draw the same pouches in the same place on the same page from panel to panel.
or not be able to draw feet.
Oh yeah. It's like somebody took a picture of him and photoshopped it and basically put little tiny feet on like a picture of him like at a convention. Oh, well, this should explain everything, and just made a meme out of it. Yeah. I was like, oh my God. I go, they should have covered him in pouches too. That would have just been perfect.
Yeah.
I'm like, man. So tell us what the biggest learning curve was in making this book. Was it like, the promotion and, pushing it like, every day, like 2 or 3 times a day, all, any place that you could, or, was it just the actual process of scripting out a comic opposed to a novelization?
So I would say like writing the script wasn't as difficult as I thought it would be. Yeah, I mean I did have to go through about 4 drafts of the script before it was ready for prime time. Because I when I was writing that script out, it was fairly somewhat easy for me to do because the ideas were just flowing out of my head. And I will say, like the process of making the book with Bogdan was actually, Bogdan made it very Bogdan made it very easy because his artwork is incredible. So there were not a whole lot for me to I didn't have to beat him over the head. Like he had a very good understanding of what I was looking for with each page and each panel, and in terms of how I wanted it to look. I would say like some of a couple of the mistakes that I made probably early on was not doing the cover art first. I only we we didn't start on the cover art till about halfway through the book, being finished. And I should have done that in the first place, which is a mistake I will be correcting with the next book. That's like the first thing I'm going to have Bogdan do is the cover art. The other thing too was not having a trailer made before I launched the campaign, because I didn't get the trailer made till about halfway through the campaign was finished. So I would say most of the mistakes that I made were basically through the promotion and trying, I could have done a much better job of trying to get on as many streams as I possibly could to promote the book. And, it was kind of hard to do because, it seemed like I hit like a period where a lot of people weren't doing a whole lot of promo streams. So that was part of it too. But really, it just, mainly it was just, getting the word out and, obviously, like once or twice a day on Twitter, just sending out the link and, saying, hey, here's the book.
And did you have I've noticed typically, a project will start off, fairly good at the beginning and you get that big slump in the middle and then pick up a little bit towards the end again.
Mm-hmm.
Did you experience that, or did you guys like basically fight tooth and nail until this past weekend?
I would say probably more like the former than the latter. When I launched the campaign, I mean, the project was already a third of the way funded within the first 24 hours.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. So, but then, after about, like the first 2 or 3 days, it started to slow down quite a bit. And then, there would be, a few days here and there where I wouldn't get any new backers at all, right in the middle. And then it wasn't, and then, obviously in the last week of the campaign, it started picking up again. And I think I got about 30 new backers in the last week. So.
Well, that's sweet. It picked up and crashed through so you can get the book made now.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And it will be going in demand too. So if anybody missed out on the campaign, they'll be able to get it while it's in demand.
And how long do you think you're going to keep it in demand for?
Until fulfillment. So I want to get started on fulfillment in September. Fingers crossed. Obviously there's a lot that can happen in between now and then. But I want to be able to do it till then. So it'll stay in demand until fulfillment, whenever that'll be. Hopefully that will be in September, because I'm actually moving in October, and I would really like to get the book out before I move. So.
Are you staying fairly local to where you are, or you get a big move in this country?
It's going to be a pretty good move. I mean, I'm in Texas right now, and I'm going across the Gulf to Florida. So.
Yeah. Hey, you're moving closer to me. What the hell?
Oh, yeah. Hey.
Well, not that close. I'm the other end of the coast, but.
Wow.
It's closer.
It's closer, yeah.
Kind of.
Same time zone. Yeah.
Same time zone and stuff, but
yeah.
It's not a bad place, and there's a really good store in Florida, in Central Florida, in the Orlando area, that is a huge supporter of indie comics, called The Collective.
The Collective. Okay. Well, that's where I'm moving to, or looking to move to, is the Orlando area. So I will be paying that place a visit.
Yeah. Danny Morales runs the indie branch of the store, and They do their own podcast. So like, if they ordered like, a bunch of this book off of you, they would feature it, and they would feature it, and they would have you on a show, and probably have you in to do a signing.
Ah, cool. Hey, Pops.
Something happened with the share that was in the madness, so I had to reshare it a different way.
Huh.
But yeah, I mean, do you have this planned out for an extended long haul run, or is it set up as a mini series, or what?
Right now it's probably going to be kind of a long haul run in terms of having different stories. I mean, one of the things I've been working on for the last month or so is, along with the script for the next book, is just plotting out different story ideas that I want to do. And I've got like 6 or 7 different stories that I'm looking to plan out.
So this is going to be going for quite a while.
Yeah, it could be going on for a few years.
Hey, steady employment.
Yeah.
Your folks will be pleased.
Yes.
So, how many issues do you have like the first story arc planned out for?
So the first story arc is probably going to be at least 2. I'm probably going to at least 2, maybe 3 parts, depending on how the editing process goes with it. Each part will probably be anywhere from 48 to 56 pages.
So it's a nice meaty book too. So, see, Piper will most likely be in touch with you about next week's popping episode.
Sounds good. But yeah, Angel's Awakening is basically going to be I always say Angel's Awakening is kind of like a prologue to the next story that I have planned up. Kind of, or like an OVA for an anime.
Yeah. So if you want to share the campaign, sure. If you want to share the screen with me, I can let you pop it up, and you can walk us through stuff, and
absolutely
people can see stuff.
All right, let me get that for you. Okay.
Let's see. There we go. I think it's there. Boink.
Yeah. So still got a few hours left in the campaign. It closes at I think it's 3 a.m. Eastern. So yeah, obviously we're just a little under $3,200. So we're doing really well. I guess I could start by showing the trailer. Here.
The life of a spy isn't as glamorous as I thought. But it isn't dull.
Yes, it's going into Man Pops. That's cool. Did you make the trailer yourself?
That was his name is Caleb. He's in graded point fives audience, and
Oh, yeah.
and that's Piper doing the voice of Jessica.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So
I didn't recognize her voice without giggles.
yeah. Yeah. So Angels Awakening. The story is 32 pages. Obviously, like I said, it was created by me. Bogdan was the artist on the book, and Eric Weathers, of course, lettered the whole thing, which of course he letters everybody's books, it seems. And on what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Like I said, 32-page story. The book is completely done. So like I said, the fulfillment will probably happen fairly quickly. And like I said, fingers crossed. Because I've hear a lot of horror stories about people trying to fulfill and they, something happens. So I'll be praying that everything will go smoothly with the fulfillment. But anyway, so the featured tier here, this is all three covers. So you get the main cover, that's also the Virgin cover, and then the variant cover done by Carla. And let me just show. Probably easier to show it here. Here's Carla's variant cover. Very manga inspired.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And also too, if you're international or you just don't have that the cash amount, you can always get the digital only tier, which is at $10. And you can also get each book separately. So you can get the main cover, you can get the Virgin cover, and Carla's cover. And you can also here's the main cover. And obviously you hear all the interior pages.
I love the colors, man.
Oh yeah, I do too. Yeah. Yeah, I love this. I think the words that came out of my mouth when I saw this page were holy shit. It's just amazing. So this tier here, I really like this one. This is the pinup poster tier. You can get the poster is 11 by 17, and that also includes a copy of the book, the main cover of the book.
Oh, nice.
You can also get all three books as well as the poster here. And I mentioned this on the last on the stream on Saturday, but this still has not been claimed yet. If anybody wants it, this drawn in tier, original drawn in art tier.
Wow, that I'm surprised that nobody's claimed that, because that's usually such a big popular tier, is to get into a book.
Well, it's not really getting into the book, but it's being drawn into a piece of art. It would be basically a commissioned piece of art done by drawn traditionally by Bogdan. It'll be you or somebody with Jessica.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And so yeah, and as I mentioned before on Saturday, Bogdan really loves drawing action scenes. So he had an absolute ball drawing this chase scene on the motorcycle here, which I've mentioned before on other streams, but I don't think I mentioned it on Saturday. But this chase scene was largely inspired by Raiders of the Lost Ark.
See, I like it already.
Yeah.
Classic influences.
Yes. So, but yeah, and also too, included with the book is also some bonus content. Basically, like a mini art book. You're going to get pages that are that have a lot of the lore of the universe that Angel's Awakening takes place in, as well as some really cool stuff about the tech and gadgets that Jessica uses in the book, as well as some concept art designs for the characters, and some short and brief bios of each one too, of each character.
See, I like that when a creator goes, above and beyond, to give you more in-depth look into the characters, especially early on in a series. So you don't have to give away like everything, but you can hint away to things that have happened in the past, why they may or may not have gone down this path, and stuff like that. I just like I like some depth in my characters.
Yeah. I think that having character depth is very important when you're trying to have when you're trying to craft a well thought out narrative. You don't want bland, boring characters like we have today.
Oh yeah, those
Yeah.
Like I don't know. She-Hulk is no longer She-Hulk. She's actually just Hulk. I'm like, no, she's not. Oh, it's the Winter Hulk. I'm like, we're gonna do Planet Hulk all over again. Oh, go away. I am 100% not a fan of Donny Cates. So much so that I may troll him once in a while on Twitter. And all I have to do is hit hashtag and the letter I, and it comes up hashtag I hates the Cates. And I mean, I've loved the Hulk since I was a kid. I grew up watching the Bill Bixby, Lou Ferrigno version of Hulk, and as soon as I heard that Ed was leaving Immortal Hulk and they were giving Hulk over to Donny Cates, I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm so done.
Yeah.
And I've loved his whole run of Immortal Hulk has been, some of the best stories to come out of Marvel in like a decade. So, I was excited from like issue to issue on it, and like, he's gonna leave and go do something else. We're gonna put him on this, and we're gonna put him on Venom, and then we're gonna put the Venom crew on Hulk. Like, Marvel, you fucking suck. I go, I'm done. But on the plus side, I can go back and grab, anything I might be missing in my Hulk run, in like a store sale for probably like $1 a piece or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I had all these extra issues of, Immortal Hulk. Like I've got like 5 copies of #1. I go, well, I know I'm selling them now.
Yeah.
Out of spite. I'm like, no, we're done.
Yeah.
I like the bikini shot.
Oh yes. Yeah. Definitely what I was looking for with a pinup poster. Nice sexy pic of Jessica in a bikini. Of course, this was done by Bogdan. But yeah, it's I'm very very pleased with how the campaign went, and people, and to the 87 backers who backed this book, you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, you're starting off in a good run. I mean, Bogdan's a great artist, and well, he can do everything. So all you have to do is write a story and then hand it over to him, and you're well on your way.
Yeah.
Have you thought about what what, or if you're going to do trade collections down the road?
I am thinking about it. At some, maybe do that at some point. Depends on how things go, but yeah, I would love to do a trade paperback or maybe even a hardcover. I would love to do have like a hardcover collector's edition sort of thing with like the first like the entirety of the next run on the next book, and then maybe put Angels Awakening in there with it. But yeah, it just wait and see.
I love hardcovers.
Yeah.
You said hardcovers, and I'm like, oh. I'm like, yes, man. Another book I backed from the UK was Rich Parada's Incantessi. And he's like, whoa, I'm making it available in floppy and hardcover. I go, you had me at hardcover.
Okay, yeah.
He's like, really? He goes, those cost more to ship. I go, I don't care.
I don't care.
I'm a hardcover whore.
Yes.
That's why I go, because trades are great. Like, if it's something that you just want to read and you're not concerned with what's going to happen afterwards, because eventually everybody, the climate, no matter where you live, the corners of the trade are going to eventually start curling up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's just gonna happen. With the hardcover, you can open it up very nicely without breaking the spine, and enjoy yourself reading it. And that way you have an excuse to be like, thank God I got the tier with the extra bookmarks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've got 6 books in my parlor area, in front of my TV with my recliner and everything. Where I have like poop pyramids of comics stacked up everywhere. But I've got prose books that I'm reading, and I've got comics and graphic novels and trades that I'm reading. And I'm like, it depends what mood I'm in. I might want to read some old school, what if story, and I'll pick up the Prestige hardcover for that, and I'll read some of that. I might just be like, you know what? I want to go back and, read a couple more chapters in this Alan Moore book that I've been reading since 2003. And I only know that because the paper I used for a bookmark was a printed out, quote for page rates for a place that I advertised at, 'cause I was a DJ for like 30 years.
Oh.
And the quote was from 2003. It said so at the top of the page. I'm like, oh, good Lord, I'm such a slow reader with these things. When there's no pictures, every once in a while you get to an area of the book where there's a whole bunch of comic work and ads and, ads that they reprinted that he did stuff for. And,
Mm-hmm.
Those pages go really quick because I'm excited to read comics inside, because everything else is just words. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm such a 5-year-old. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I know Pops had asked, and I yelled out during the trailer that, yeah, it's going in demand. Relax.
Yeah. 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 Yes. It's going in demand.
And I know a friend of mine was looking at was looking at this that I do another podcast with, of all things, if you can believe, it's called OK Boomer. We just look at like old, gold and silver and bronze age books. Every episode, we just go through them. We'll read the book and go through them, and just talk about them with the chat and everything. He looked at it, and I go, you might like this because he's a huge Alita fan. Like he ordered that like multi-purpose Alita statue that came out the other year that kept getting delayed and delayed. It was a Hot Toys statue too, so it was probably like $1,000.
Yeah.
But it's a fully posable statue. I go, that's an action figure that you can't play with. He's like, and he took pictures and he posted them on. He goes, but I go, I know it looks awesome. I'm jealous. I hate you. Shut up. Now look at this book. He goes, ooh, I like that. It reminds me of Alita. I'm like, okay, well, make sure you watch the episode after work tomorrow that I'm taping tonight, because I'm talking to the writer and you still might be able to get a copy.
Yeah.
Like, it's going in demand, so he can still order it, so he'll be happy. Pops might still be able to get himself a copy.
Yes.
And I will have to wait until Thursday to order a copy. So, I will be getting the in-demand version.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's awesome. Appreciate it.
Well, I got to buy your first book,
Yeah.
In 10 years from now, you could be the next Jeff Lemire. I don't know.
Yeah.
So make sure you sign all the books, because, signed books are worth more money.
Well, yeah. Well, if
I just like I just like getting my indie books signed.
Yeah. Well, if that's actually one of the stretch goals down here. If we get to 10K, I will sign on every book. So.
Okay, quick. 8 hours. Everybody buy this book.
Yes.
I want a free signature.
Well, if I ever see you anywhere, I will happily sign a copy for you.
Well, we're both up on the East Coast, and you're going to have to start doing conventions.
That's true. Yeah.
Are you going to, after the movie, you planning on any Florida cons?
I haven't looked into any yet, but I could always do that. Yeah.
Because I know MegaCon's coming up in about a month or so, and that's like one of the bigger ones around the Orlando area. And I know a bunch of creators that usually go to that. One that I actually used to write for on his webpage. I used to interview bands for him and write up reviews and interview, do like I'm doing now, but having a typey type.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it better now that I just have to talk. But he moved to Ohio with his family, but they fly him in every year as a guest. So, and I know a lot of people down there. CBCS is one of the sponsors of that con. I only know that because I know somebody that used to work for him and volunteers to work for him every time the convention comes around so he can get in for free.
Okay.
Just little tricks I picked up along the way.
Yeah.
But I mean, this looks great. Congratulations on getting your first project off the ground and soon to be in a minimum of at least 90 hands.
Yes.
So I figure between now and next week, probably still get like a few more people getting it on in demand, and that's the next thing you have to push is, hey, it's now in demand. Get it before it's gone. 30 days only. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And so it never ends. You got to keep that hustle up 24/7, all the time. And then when you start working on the next book, then the circuit starts all over again, and it's a lot of work, but I think it's worth it. Just to have and this way you have like direct contact with the fans. You'll have people telling you how much they love the book, and that they've hung that bikini print up on the ceiling of their bedroom, and different things like that. I mean,
oh yeah,
this whole thing looks great, and I'll tell you congratulations, because the last couple of years there's been sadly been many disappointed people that just fell short. We Pops and I did a countdown show for somebody who's a great writer, and he's had many successful crowdfunders, but he had, of course, the one that I'm on doing the countdown show. He fell like $60 short.
Oh,
and none of us had any money left on any of our credit cards to just be like, here, donate. Boom.
Yeah.
So, but congratulations. Thank you for coming out here and chatting up nerd and goofy stuff on top of Angels Awakening. And why don't you let everybody know where they can find you so they can follow you and keep up to date on all your work?
So the best place to find me is on Twitter. My Twitter handle's on the screen there, at Daniel Parker, Daniel_Parker63. I'm also on Instagram, dparker6385, and you can find me here on YouTube. Just look for that avatar right there. Actually it'll be tomorrow night, and Tuesday nights I do a live stream with my live stream partner, DB Fastbinder, also known as Darth Bobcat. It's called Tuesdays with Story, and we just talk about different writing concepts and basically give out writing advice to people who need any help with writing. So
very cool. And all those links are included in the show notes, either up above or down below, depending on where you're watching us. And that's going to wrap up another episode of Creators Outlet. Thank you very much, and we will see you next time.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.